Hey everyone, you've landed on the Swing Trade Pros website here. My name is Mr. Know-It-All. I've been an active swing trader for over 7 years. I want to welcome you guys all to the community here. My goal is to change 1 million people's lives with swing trading and trading profitably. This is a skill set you can learn here with the service. Go check out the testimonials in Discord. You can see lots of folks talking about the service and how the trade calls are super profitable. You can check Profit Gains channel. I think we've amassed around $150,000 worth of profits in the last year posted in the Profit Gains channel just from other users and traders in the community. I'd like all of you guys to check out the 14-day free trial. A coupon code will be pinned in the comment section below this video, so check it out. And we'll take you through 14-day free trial process here. You come down to the website, save 44%, and claim your 14-day free trial. Click on that. And that will take you to the Swing Trade Pros website where you can click sign up now. And after your 14-day free trial is up, on the 15th day, you will get billed, full disclosure of that. And I appreciate you guys all joining the community. It will change your lives. Give it a chance. A lot of these swing trades can take months. One of our biggest trades of the year last year was INJ. We took an entry at $1.60, and well, that asset's trading over $35 today. So that was one of the banger trades that I pointed out. My strongest pattern that I trade that I'm known for is the falling wedge. I call it the falling node wedge pattern. Lots of divergence on these charts, and that's what makes these patterns really play out. And you guys are going to be able to really learn that in the service, and I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the charts.
Can you guys hear me now? I said I got some good news and I got some not so good news. The good news is gold's going higher. We didn't really get that much of a pullback, I guess, the other day when we were talking about it. I think we did pull back a little bit, right, until like 2,600 or something. Gold continuing to push, inflation continuing to go higher. As we all know, gold pretty much tracks the real value of the dollar. Let's check out the S&P. The S&P pulled back pretty drastically last week, almost engulfing the previous week's candle. We still technically made a higher low, though. If you want to be technical, we're still putting in higher lows on the weekly time frame. Our monthly candle here is we made new all-time highs technically. That is still okay. So as long as we get a bounce here, I think we're just kind of ranging right now. For right now, we're ranging up here. Okay. If you just look, we're still putting in higher lows from the January low. Yes, Suresh. So let's see how we open this week, because even though we had some bad price action going into the close yesterday or Friday, we definitely have a lot of bear div. That is definitely prevalent on the chart. The monthly is very extended. It wouldn't shock me if we do see a pullback in the S&P because of that. But bearish divergence can underperform in major uptrends. Okay. The fact that the S&P isn't just falling off a cliff right now kind of leads me to believe that they're going to try to range this thing sideways, maybe. The dollar's coming off. So, like, that's usually good for risk assets. All right. So we have a couple things that are we have a couple things that are actually working in the favor of risk assets right now. The dollar being one of them, a major catalyst for the continuation. All right. So we'll see how this monthly candle closes. If the dollar ends up closing below the 104 region, it's going to be tough to really be a bear on really any of the risk assets. All right. So something to pay attention to. We haven't done that yet. We haven't seen enough follow through yet on this monthly candle. We could see this come down here in the next 5 days. They're painting a bearish engulfing candle right now. So what could happen is next month we could see this kind of break back into this range. All right. And that should actually end up boding well for risk assets. But we'll see. A lot of stocks are very extended, overbought, maybe a bit overvalued where they're at. So some drawdowns really wouldn't be the worst thing to see on them to get some resets on those assets. But let's look at some of the crypto stuff here. Tether at the top of its range here on the daily and the 2-day time frame. The weekly chart also at resistance right now. It's clearly having some difficulty breaking higher, despite it consolidating here. Okay, there is some argument that this is potentially going to get rejected if the DXY continues to go down. I mean, they haven't really been correlating 100%, but obviously, I'm really just looking at ETH. Ethereum is pretty wreck city, and I think that this thing is wrecked enough to make some sort of recovery here against Bitcoin, which would usher in some sort of altcoin run. All right, that's given we get the right ingredients to have happen here. Okay. The weekly is implying a move up on ETH BTC. It's also implying, weekly bullish divergence down here. That's pretty strong. The monthly is also extremely oversold. It's just very low risk areas here on the ratio. I think at some point here, the next coming weeks, we're going to see ETH probably make a move. All right. We'll see how this plays out. Maybe I'm wrong and this thing comes all the way down to the demand zone. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if that happened either, but I think we could get some sort of maybe retest of like the 0.04 region before maybe, one more leg down or something because of how oversold it is. Like we need to see some sort of reversion on that. And this could just mean the assets are actually falling against the dollar, but ETH isn't falling as hard as Bitcoin. So they're buying ETH, down here type of thing. But Bitcoin futures are up 1.74%. So, yeah, I mean, they tried to rally on Friday, but with the stock market kind of falling, Bitcoin didn't stand a chance during that move down. So, yeah, we'll see. This is becoming a little bit dicey up here. You can kind of see the bulls trying to really fight to hold these ranges up here, which they've been doing. There's nothing really. The technical analysis hasn't changed at all since I would say January, where we made this high and we've just been ranging sideways in the 90K to 108K region. So until Bitcoin picks a direction, there's nothing really to do here on Bitcoin. There's no trade set up. There's nothing right now on this. This is an untradeable zone, if you will. We're in the middle of a range. And we're waiting to see what direction they take this. All right. Ethereum is a different story. I think Ethereum is more equitable down here than Bitcoin. All right. Right. You're making higher lows off this weekly bottom here. You had this deep wick that came through the structure. You can see that this is a lot more low risk to be in than Ethereum, or excuse me, than Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is like, way up here in la la land on the chart. So that to me is if I was going to be taking a risk on an asset, probably be Ethereum. And that's really the base case of what I'm talking about here. I think that's pretty much where we're at. And this whole, Bybit getting hacked thing, and that doesn't necessarily help matters, but they're probably not going to be selling it into stablecoin, right? They're probably going to be holding the asset. So if anything, that reduces sell pressure on the asset and increases probably the buy pressure for Bybit, because they're going to probably have to buy those ETH back, right? It could end up being a bullish scenario for Ethereum. That's all I'm saying. Down here, anyway, Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I'm still of the opinion we're going to get some sort of alt season. Yeah, I mentioned that, but I think it's going to dump less percentage-wise because of the ETH BTC ratio, right? So even if they lose value against the dollar, I think ETH will actually outperform Bitcoin on its movement down at this stage of the market cycle here. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? If you look at the ETH BTC ratio, you got weekly bullish divergence on it. Like that, that's going to definitely play out to the upside in some shape, way, or form. It may not be a massive move or something, but like ETH could hold. That's what I'm trying to say. Could hold its ratio against Bitcoin, which just means that it maybe doesn't go down as much if we're all going to go down here. That's kind of what I'm alluding to. All right. And some of these assets are actually just holding the range. Like INJ just holding this level here pretty nicely. Looks like it's bottoming out. A lot of these look like they're bottoming out. KSM holding its range low too, just holding it down here. No, not new lows. Even on the Friday dump, didn't really dump. SUI also holding its range up here, holding its major moving averages. Still making higher lows than this low here. I would say this is still in a major uptrend, man. Solana is something that I'm not really too big of a fan on owning it here at this point, below some of these levels, but it is holding its 2-day, 200-day moving average right now. But if you start making closures below that, I do see Solana maybe coming down here. I think it's now becoming a lot weaker than some of these other assets with this double top, and you break of this neckline. Yep. We'll look at Link. We'll look at Aave. I think Aave is one of the strongest ETH assets still. Okay. We spoke about this parabola structure that it's still in. It's still in it. It didn't even come down to test its 200-day, 2-day moving average. The daily 200, it's still above the daily 200. So still good there. We haven't even come down to test it. All right. It's possible that we do see some of these retests still happen. But understand that these 3-day time frames are all reset down here, right? The 3-day stochastics are already at the bottom. The weekly is already at basically the buy zone. I don't see much, if any, a lot more. I don't see a lot more downside on some of these assets. I think we're pretty close to these lows. Should get some bounces and some retests to confirm those lows is where we're at, I think. All right. Could be a couple more days, could be a couple more weeks of maybe chopping before we start to see some resolution on some of these moves back up. Okay. Now the high time frame is a little bit of a different story. Like the monthly here is very overbought still. Okay. So that, high time frames look a little bit different than the lower time frames here, but the lower time frames are going to dictate what the what the higher time frames will end up doing. So if we get continued downside and, the RSI comes back into, bullish control zone here, and then we bounce off this like 60 level on the monthly, and then we go back up, we start making bearish divergence, I think that this push here might end up being some sort of top for this asset. You probably make a higher high on price and a lower level of relative strength on the RSI. So I think we're going to get some bearish divergence. That'll be the signal of, get the hell out of all these things. Okay. So I think we got a few more months before any of that stuff happens. Maybe like 3 to 6 months is what I'm thinking. Yeah, we'll look at Fetch. I think last stream we talked about it. It looked like it was holding this fib level, and maybe it's not holding it anymore. Oh, wow, man. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah, so Fetch, I think still within the bounds of its structure, didn't really make a technical break on its structure. It just depends on how you draw this, but to me, this still looks like it's in some sort of parabolic type of path, right? If you look at this carefully, it just looks like some sort of parabola. Now you could end up breaking this, but this to me looks like a very strong level of support right where it's at. And yeah, the 2-day is below the 200-day moving average. You're at the floor here. You're at like a major level. You need to pop back above this 80-cent region to really continue higher. I think this is definitely deep value zone here for Fetch. Pulling back from like $3, $3.30. That's a pretty significant drawdown. Right, it's done like an 80% drawdown, man. Yeah, this is becoming deep value areas here for Fetch. Okay, if we're going to remain in an uptrend and remain in a bull run, as long as you're continuing to make higher lows than these consolidation lows that you made along the way, then I don't really necessarily see a problem with Fetch. Yeah, I mean, you might be taking out this swing low, but that's okay. All right. I think your macro swing lows, you're holding above the weekly 200 here, whereas here in September, you actually dip below it and then rip back above it. So, you're holding it. You might end up maybe losing it and then go sideways and then kind of get back in the structure. Something like that could happen. I think we got a bit more sideways action to come. But if this dollar continues to fall like it is, I just don't see a lot more downside on these assets. Like, I just don't see it. I think the damage has been done, and I think we're setting up for higher prices. That's what it looks like to me. Looks like we're setting up for higher prices. I mean, you guys can agree or disagree. This is what I'm seeing, and I could be completely wrong. Maybe the market's already topped out, and we're just going to make lower highs and make lower lows along the way down here. But until we start to see that shift of higher low type of thing happen, I think these assets have a chance to kind of recover, especially the good ones. I should say the good ones. Ethereum hasn't even really done anything yet this cycle, which leads me to believe that it's going to do something. It's still within the bounds of this structure. And yeah, I think so. I think these are the lows. They're putting in the lows. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, dude. Look at the monthly time frame. You want to be short the dollar right now and long euro, long probably all the other fiat currencies against the dollar. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Exactly, Joseph. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, we covered gold, man. Gold's probably going to tick higher, man. It's probably going to go test that $3,500 region. That's that major fib extension up there. It hasn't touched it yet. 3,000 is a level on gold. And man, what a run for gold, man. Peter Schiff must be having a heyday right now with his gold bag, you know. We're above the 1618 major fib extension here. And we could be looking at a $3,600 gold in the coming 6 months, you know. This is in a breakout, dude. Like when gold goes into breakouts like this, it's usually major moves. Yep. Mr. Big, pleasure to see you here, man. How are you? Indeed. Did. And the other really important metric to look at, and I don't know if you guys know about this, especially when it relates to the business cycles, is the PMI index, right? So the United States, they're the ISM, the PMI index. This just crossed up, man. So I think we actually have longer than what people think. So looking at a monthly time frame here, you can see that the monthly just ticked up. I think we run this can run to the top of the range before the cycle is over. If you look carefully here, this topped out March of 2021, which actually kind of correlates to Bitcoin. Bitcoin made its top in April of 21. We got that pullback, and then we got that double top in November. Well, look at this. November 2021, it was the retest. It was a lower high on the PMI index. Perfect. This told you that this was done in March, April. So when this tops out, it's time to get out of everything. Now, I don't think it's time to get out of stuff yet. I think we got some time here, guys. I think we're going to still have this alt run that nobody thinks is coming. I still think a lot of this stuff is in play for crypto and even for stocks. A lot of stocks are wrecked still. A lot of low cap stocks are wrecked. You have there's still some ups, a lot of upside left on some of these markets. USBCOI, man, USBCOI. And I think that this is a very, very important leading. I wouldn't say leading indicator, but it's definitely an indicator that you can look at for these market cycles. So this is something that I came across, and this was the COVID low, and then this was the top, right? And like it all kind of correlates exactly with the market. It's actually really amazing that this actually exists because. This is going to help you gauge whether or not to de-risk or stay with risk on assets right now. And I think staying with risk on assets is still the play, especially if inflation's going higher. Look at gold. If gold's going to continue ripping, you need to be with risk assets. Gold's doing nothing and coming down. Well, you don't really probably need to be in risk. Probably need to be risk off. Gold's a pretty good indicator of where your money needs to be, I would say. None of this is financial advice. I'm just kind of, stating some probably obvious things to a lot of you folks, but some people just have no idea or no clue what the hell to do. Sometimes it's difficult navigating these markets, and it's also difficult to see the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall is inflation's going higher. And the Fed's not going to, it came in a little bit higher than their expectation. They're probably going to have to just be okay with a 3% inflation. And they're going to probably have to deal with that. And that's what it's going to be. Like they're not going to get this under control. In fact, they're probably going to lose control of it. And we're probably going to get into some sort of crazy hyperinflation if they don't, they're going to have to print money here soon. Like this is like people are going broke, man. Look at the eggs prices. Those are in the moon. Those are only going higher. Everything's only going higher, only up right now. So. Yeah, we get we get more inflation in these markets. That means these assets continue to bubble, continue to bloat. I should say bloat their valuations. Okay, so I think that's kind of where we're at. I think a lot of these, like I said before, a lot of these cryptos are bottoming out or pretty close to bottomed out. We should start to see some moves on them here shortly. They're all reset on 3-day, weekly time frames. Right. Like I said, I don't think we have 5 years left to this market cycle. I think we have maybe till the end of the year, maybe October, November, and that's it. ARC. How's ARC doing? Let's see. ARQQ. Yeah, I closed my spot position on it on Friday. I didn't like the rejection it got here. I don't know, man. That could happen. And that's what probably could drive retail back into the market. Okay. Yeah, this looks like it wants to go up, but it hasn't seen any volume or any price action to dictate that. It could happen, I guess, but you know what? And you know what? It's kind of screwed up because like the charts are depicting higher inflation, so like that would exacerbate it, 100%. What a free robot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, all I can do here is try to gauge what these charts are saying and dictating and try to act accordingly. And I'm not going to get it perfect by any means. As long as I can capture enough of the value and, provide enough for my family. That's really all my goal is here. I'm not going to get it perfect ever, guys, ever. So feel free to drop some tickers if you want to look at something. We'll see how this market opens tomorrow. I think we're going to see some. We got some big earnings this week, man. If Nvidia performs, then I think these markets are probably just going to continue higher. They just got themselves some really cheap entries on some calls if Nvidia is going to tick higher here. Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, technically speaking, it doesn't really look the best. That weekly bearish engulfing, it's technically still making higher lows, though we haven't produced a higher high on Nvidia. But yeah, LTC looks toppy. Yeah, that's the only scary part, man, is when Litecoin starts rallying, dude, you kind of got to ask yourself, is this shenanigans almost over? Because Litecoin's usually the last one to go. I know that they have an ETF coming or something for it. This doesn't look topped out, really, though. Like, it could get to the top of the range. High time frame, monthly charts are still got room to run here. Monthly stochastic still pointing up. You might go sideways here for a month or two. You did get a monthly band deviation. QBTS, yeah, the computing stocks, quantum computing stocks. Yeah, I think we spoke about this last stream. Yeah, it broke here on Friday, I think, a bit. It needs to come up and take out like $10 to go higher, I think. But yeah, you can see maybe some sort of higher lows being put in there on the daily. The daily looks good. The 2-day looks good. Like, you got a nice momentum swing back up. The 3-day also probably looking good. Looks like you're probably going to see some higher prices on this asset. You gotta take out these highs up here, and you got to make a new high. So really, you got to take out this 13-18 region. That would probably send it a lot higher. All right, into probably price discovery, and maybe swing target up to $34 on that fib level. Cool, man. Nice. So for stocks, I had a couple on my radar that I was looking at. Intel being a good one for long term here. Okay, Intel bottom of the range here. I think that this is something that shouldn't be ignored. I know it hasn't really been a great performing asset, but you got monthly bullish divergence down here like this. This is a great long term buy zone for Intel. Okay, it's a big name. They're probably going to get involved in some of this stuff now. This AI stuff, they have to. I mean, like if they want to survive, they gotta start competing with the market here. But yeah, I think Intel looks good here. If you're looking for a long-term investment play here, not financial advice, guys, just looking at the chart, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good on the monthly time frame. I think long-term buys here on Intel are good. This looks great. You got monthly bullish divergence. We spoke about this when it was at $20 here in the Discord. It started making a move up here the other day. I was looking at, this is a shit company, but I was looking at OCGN down here. I think I gave a swing trade on it. I don't know if it's going to play out, but we'll see. Yeah, man, maybe try your luck on this wedge. If it breaks, that'd be great. You could see maybe this going back up to the top of the range here. Penny stock play. Let's see. Teladoc made a nice break and looks like it's back testing right now. Right, the monthly RSI on Teladoc is down here at the bottom. All right, this is probably a long-term hold. Okay. Rivian's another one that's wrecked down here. I don't know if this is worth holding long-term, but if this breaks out, it probably is. Yeah, so like I said, I still think there's a lot of opportunity left in this market, especially on some of these smaller caps. Rivian's a $13 billion company, or market cap, rather. So, yeah, it just depends on your outlook and how quickly you want to see returns and, all that fun stuff. Everyone wants to get rich tomorrow, but that's not really how this works. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. Wow, MLGO went nuts, man. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah. Wow. It's that one, man. I was watching this thing for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I guess Friday it blew out, man. 531 million trading volume. Holy shit. Wow, look at that gap up, man. That's crazy. Cool. Well, congrats to the holders on this one. We were looking at this one for a while. Yeah, Avalanche. So the real thing for crypto, which you guys really should start looking at, is you really need to look at DeFi Llama, and you really need to look at TVL. Okay? So Avalanche's TVL is wrecked, right? And if you look at it versus what Avalanche is doing, it doesn't necessarily look the best. It looks like it put a floor in, but it doesn't look like it's kind of ripping up like it was last cycle, right? So to me, I probably wouldn't even want to own this right now. It doesn't look like something I want to own. XRP, I don't think I could actually chart the TVL on it, but actually, I think they have their own ledger, right? XRPL or something. Yeah, okay. So the XRP ledger, yeah, it got a spike, and now it's just kind of consolidating. There's not really a lot of volume on their decks, but if this starts to tick up, which it could, yeah, you could see some action on the XRP ledger there. Okay. So a couple that stood out to me was Sonic. Look at the Sonic TVL. You see how this is nicely, steadily rising? There's probably new inflows coming into Sonic chain. Like FTM, turned into Sonic, right? So like this is something that you need to watch or pay attention to, because when TVL starts to grow and starts to come into the asset, usually the assets on those chains start to go up. Like if you look at Solana, it ticked up a lot. So, but this could start to come down, because if you look at USD value, you can see maybe it had this big drawdown and you're at like a support level here. But if you break that, you're going back to like $6 billion, which would probably equivalent to be Solana price around $130. Anyways, just something you guys should pay attention to is this data here. This is going to give you all the data you need to know about that blockchain. All right, here's SUI or whatever. The SUI blockchain is kind of flat right now on TVL. No real growth. It doesn't really look like it's growing right now or trying to make a move, right? So maybe some more sideways consolidation for SUI. That's what that looks like. Base, right? So Base's TVL looks like it might start to tick up here, right? You can see that it put this low in, and now we're making higher lows. So Base could start to go. And look at it versus like ETH. Like it's just a nice steady uptrend, right? Base looks good. So maybe look at some assets on Base, right? Do you guys kind of get what I'm talking about right now? I think, obviously there's a million assets on Base, but like maybe just look at like Aerodrome. Aerodrome's the DEX. That's like owning the casino. You might as well just own that. You really can't go wrong just owning the casino, right? Aerodrome's the number one DEX. It does all the trading volume here. Everything on this chain leads to Aerodrome. It owns $1 billion of TVL of the three. It owns a third of the chain. So if inflows are coming in through Base, a third of it's going to Aerodrome. That's huge. That's going to have big implications for the price of the asset. Like, let's go look at Aerodrome, for example. All right. Okay. Are we making a higher low here on the price? My guess is yes. That's my guess. Daily time frame, pretty low here on the RSI. 2-day time frame, bullish divergence on the 2-day RSI. You guys see that? You guys see that on the price there? Okay. That's telling you some things. This thing is probably going to start to move here soon. All right. Watch this trend line. This looks like a channel or maybe a wedge pattern setting up here. This is a higher low than your range low. What's your target? Your target is to test the top of the range, of course. Top of the range here is $2.35. That's like almost a 4x. You could make 400% on your money here potentially. Well, who knows? Maybe it ends up taking out this high because Base is blowing up. Okay, we can't assume that that's going to happen, but if it does happen, you're looking at potentially a $3.30 Aerodrome. That's great. Okay, I mean, take it one step at a time, all right? But like we all know that wedge patterns break to the top of their wedge. All right, but this also looks like what? A cup with a deep handle, potentially. Okay, that looks good. It looks low risk. Good, man. Yeah, so like this is the stuff you got to look at if you're in crypto. You got to look at TVL. You got to look at what's happening on that chain and just go for the easiest thing that you could do. The easiest thing that you could do is check what asset owns majority of the TVL. Right? If we're talking about like say Pulse Chain or something, PulseX owns pretty much all the TVL. So it's the same thing. You just own PulseX, right? I'm just giving another example. I'm not saying Pulse Chain necessarily looks good or bad right here. I haven't actually looked at it. I am a fan of Pulse Chain though. Made some good money off Pulse Chain assets the past few months here. Yeah, so you could see the TVLs tick down right now, right? But does that mean it's dead? Probably not. It just means that it got a pretty big drawdown, right? Like this doesn't look necessarily good at all, actually. Right? So this looks like it's going to come down more, pulse chain assets, right? Yeah. So like, but this could present some big buying opportunities once this does kind of bottom out, right? Yeah. So this is kind of what you have to look at. Hyperliquid. Okay, just looks like consolidating up here, but you made some nice new ticks up, new highs, right? Beautiful. Wait for this consolidation to kind of resolve itself. Yeah, PTGC is number 1 on Pulse Chain. Yep. I think Teddy Bear is actually about to do some really major moves on Pulse Chain. You just printed a weekly hammer candle here. That's not anything to ignore, okay? And you have a descending broadening formation. You came down to the long-term trend channel here. And that looks pretty good, man. On a weekly time frame, you got 3-day stochastics crossing back up on Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear is the number 1 meme coin on Pulse Chain for all of you guys that don't know what I'm talking about right now. This is a very nice uptrend, okay? I actually picked up a bunch of this stuff here. And if you look carefully, you can also see that the volume is receding nicely. So you're probably going to get a nice move back up, at least back up to the $60-70 million market cap area there, which is a nice double up in price. This is a $30 million market cap on Pulse Chain. All right. Looks good. There's plenty of other things that you could be looking at and buying. I'm just giving you guys an example of kind of what to look for. There's tons of different cryptos in this market. FIDA, we can look at FIDA. Isn't that a Solana asset though? So just be careful with that. FIDA is like Solana's name service. Yeah, I'd be careful with this, man. With the TVL dropping like that, I mean, you're making new lows here, dude. Find a better asset. Maybe wait for this thing to pop back up into the 15-cent range or something, Yeah, it looks low risk, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna just reverse here. It may not. It may continue lower. Look at the monthly. It doesn't look very good. It actually looks like this could come way the F down. Careful with something like this. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. Also, SMR. What's that? Is that stock? Yeah, I'm not really seeing value up here though, dude. Just be aware of that. All right. This actually looks like it's probably going to come down. You have a bearish engulfing candle that's active here. You made your major move. I'd like to see this pull back a bit, right? Maybe back to like, $10 or something. I mean, maybe that's steep, but you haven't even done a 23.6% retracement. A bullish retrace would be anywhere from the 382 to the, down to the 618 value zones here. I wouldn't be looking to buy this here. No, not me personally. Grass. Is this a crypto? Yeah, see, something like this with a long wick on the monthly like that looks good. You could see the buying activity. You got a very clear range on this too. The top of your range here is like almost $4. So you're looking at almost a double up here, just trading into the top of the range. Guys, you don't need to trade breakouts. In fact, most of the time, assets don't break out. They just don't. They just go sideways and consolidate for months and months and months. Eventually, yeah, you get a direction on the asset, right? So you can make money just range trading an asset. Like this is a pretty big range now, right? This is whatever that is, 65%. It did a 65% drawdown from the top of that range. You got a 200% range here to trade. Okay? There's your range right now. Trade it back up to the top of the range. All right? If you're starting to see volume come in, because look, you got receding volume. This could actually mean this will break out. Okay? There is a potential for that because you have receding volume. If you had volume like this, all right, and the thing already got to the top of the range, I'd be careful because that could be volume climax, okay? And then volume recedes after that, and then price actually recedes after that. But if you're trading on low volume and the price is going up and they're going to eventually get it to this breakout area and then they're going to push it with volume, then you know what's about to happen. You understand? Volume is really important to watch on these assets and once they get towards the top of their ranges, all right, for breakouts. Okay. XOVR. I mean, that looks like a bad weekly candle there, sir. Looks like you got weekly bearish divergence. Your monthly also kind of, making lower highs on the RSI. Yeah, you came right into some really hard resistance here. You probably did an 886 fib extension. You did the golden mean ratio, man. Perfect. They're going to reverse it. This is a common retrace level for assets to reverse. You're probably going to get a pretty big drawdown on this. This looks like a pretty big rising wedge or channel here that you could end up breaking. Just be careful, man. This might end up doing something like this where it comes down to like $14, maybe makes a higher low. Yeah, and then maybe after you've done that pullback, then you can maybe go higher, sure. Okay, but I think here in the near term, the next 3 to 6 months, also pay attention. Look at this. You see the volume? The highest trading volume was here on the highest high on price. This is exactly what I'm talking about. That's a volume. It's called a volume climax. Now you're going to see volume kind of taper off, and you're going to see the asset come down, not go up. It's going to come down. Okay. It's all pointing down. The momentum oscillators are all pointing down here. This looks like it's going to drop hard next week. All right. Watch for that $16 level and maybe this 1782 region here, this bottom of this range. All right. Yeah, these are all things you need to look at, man. This was an area probably to take some profit if you bought it early, Your quarterly time frame, super long-term outlook. The quarterly stochastics look okay. Like I said, I think short-term you're probably gonna see a pretty big drawdown on this. It wouldn't shock me if you went back to this level here, this $15 level, or even here. These are all probably fair value gap regions on this asset. Yeah, so that's like a 30% drawdown. That's pretty normal for a stock to do. 30% drawdown in a local uptrend here. You really want to see this thing come down and make a higher low, and then you get double bottom stuff, right? This is just going straight up without really any major pullbacks except for maybe this wick here or something. Okay. Yeah. So I would not be looking to buy this right now. I would be looking to buy that a lot lower if I could, if I was getting into it anyway. So I'm not a big advocate of, Moderna or any of these vaccine companies, but look at the deep value on Moderna down here. You think this company's going belly up? I don't. You think they're going to stop selling vaccines? I don't. This did a 78.6% retracement. This is probably the area where you'd want to be buying this thing. Okay. Look at the RSI. This looks like it's just starting. It's move up. Okay, like this is what I'm talking about. Like this is what I'm looking for when I'm trying to buy an asset long term. I'm looking at higher time frames like this. Moderna owes me money. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Anyways, this is kind of what I'm talking about. The tagging of the 786 here, previous top of this range. Now, I'm not saying it's just going to blow out here. I mean, it could, like that. Yeah. Well, it could end up trading back to the top of this channel, okay, and then maybe make another low. Could do something like that, and then eventually, I think it goes back into an uptrend. And this could be, hey man, we get another, I don't know, not COVID event, but like some major, shitstorm that happens. I don't know, man. But usually these coincide with something crazy with vaccines. So something might be brewing on this chart right now. Okay. Same with NVAX. It's also down here. And I don't really like this as much as I liked mRNA, but again, INJ wrecked. Yeah, INJ is wrecked. INJ BTC looks like it's close to bottomed out here. Yeah, this is probably the area where you'd probably want to buy INJ. All right, bottomed out here versus Bitcoin. It looks good, man. Looks like it's going to try to make a reversal here. And you'll see that happen on the US dollar price too. It's going to start ticking up against Bitcoin and then start running again. You'll see. This is where it's at. It had a pretty nice drawdown. Nice flap, yeah. NIO's starting to look pretty good down here. Not a big Chinese stock guy, but look what it's doing. You made a spring, a back test, a spring, a rally, and now you've retested this low and making a higher low. That's showing some strength. Nice, dude. Yep. You got the H bar pretty early, if I recall, right? 4 cents, 5 cents, yeah. NIL looks pretty good down here. This looks actually pretty good. Very nice. Look at the weekly RSI with that bull div there. Here you go, guys. I'm not a big, Chinese guy or Chinese stock guy, but this looks like good position trade, swing trade here, set up here on the monthly, sitting in monthly demand zone. The asset's probably done a 78 or 88.6% retracement. Yeah, pretty close to it. If I take out those wicks, it's probably right at it. So you've done basically a 78.6% retracement from swing low to swing high. Looks like a big flag, man. This looks good. Nice base forming here, right? My guess is this thing is going to end up breaking out of here at some point. I think it was an inside job, man. I don't know. And like I said, I think there's a potential bullish case for ETH because of it, because those hackers aren't going to be selling into stablecoin. They'll just freeze. Those centralized entities will just freeze their stablecoin. They won't be able to move that shit. So either they find some offshore way to get that ETH off, or They're just holding the ETH. Or they're bridging it for another asset. I don't know. You got to figure out a way to launder that money out. But either way, it reduces the selling pressure on ETH. And Bybit probably got to buy back their ETH, right? Yeah, I think it actually poses somewhat of a bullish scenario for ETH. Everyone's super bearish on it. Can they use Tornado? Do you really think that the U.S. government, once they sanctioned Tornado, didn't figure out a way to track Tornado transactions? Now that they've allowed it back into use? Think about that. Maybe they could use something else other than Tornado. Maybe they have another way of doing it. But I don't think they're going to use something, open source like Tornado. I don't think they would do that. I don't think they're that stupid. I mean, just my 2 cents about it. If you think about it, like why would the U.S. government allow for Tornado Cash to be, no longer sanctioned or no longer restricted? Probably because they understand the back end of it and where the things are actually going and what they're doing. Right? They have surveillance on it, is what I'm trying to say. So anyone that's trying to escape that stuff, good luck. I think that gig is up, man. That gig is definitely up. I'm sure there's other things out there that I don't know about. MSOS, let's take a look at it. Dude, you love these falling knives charts, dude. Wow. No, I don't see any divergence on this. Yeah, I don't know. Looks like it's gonna go lower. I mean, it's pretty wrecked already. I don't know, dude. It's probably trying to find a bottom here. Yeah, just pay attention to it. If it starts reclaiming some of these previous levels, then take a shot. But for now, I don't really see a reason to jump in this. Yeah, I'm really sad I missed this one. I was watching it. Same with Hollow. This was in a wedge. Broke its wedge Friday. Yeah. Damn. That was a nice setup. It's in Auto My Beer Discovery. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm playing Fuel Sub, but this thing sucks, dude. This thing really sucks. It's now like taking out this monthly wick. I don't know. It's gotta pretty much hold here, otherwise I think it's done for a bit. This data looks like shit. This thing's probably gonna gap down tomorrow. Yeah, that sucks. Might just go with Neo, man. NIO. Might just buy some shares of that. EOSE. Yeah. I don't know. Your monthly is kind of crossing back down. I'd be careful with that. That's probably going to come down a bit. Might even come back down to here. You'd still be making higher lows down. That'd be good. Pick up here. Catch that next wave out. Might take a month or two for that to do that. Facebook looked like a good short up here. I'm not going to short it, but yeah. PBAI pull back. Yep. I still think AMC's got a shot down here. It's still really low risk down here. I don't know if it's gonna pan out, but got a weekly bull div with a weekly stochastic RSI cross up. You know, might make a higher low somewhere here and maybe blast off on its earnings or something. I haven't been watching it too much after that move it made. Is it bottoming out again? Yikes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, it might actually end up making new lows, dude, after that rejection. Just weak sauce. So many better looking assets than this out there. Platinum was looking good. I don't know if it is anymore. Just sideways though. This might actually end up breaking out here soon. Yeah, well, we'll see how this goes. Cool, guys. Well, hopefully we have a decent week here. I don't know. It seems a little grim for some of these equities right now, but maybe the altcoins will push and we'll get some sort of alt run here next coming weeks. A-Lab. Close. Not ready just yet. It's getting there. Might make one more dip into this liquidity zone, this $80 region. That looks like a nasty head and shoulders pattern though, dude. Why do you want to be in this something like this? Yeah, you take out that neckline, you got a 42% drop ahead of you, all right? That could come way the F down. Yikes, dude. No, probably not. Look at the monthly. It's probably really not so good up here. Higher right shoulder. No, not so much. No, not on the weekly timer. He went to gap fill and came back down. Take a look at it. I'd say that's a textbook head and shoulders pattern. You know, I'd be careful with that. Yeah, I'd be looking at this $74 level potentially on this. Looks gross, dude. This might even be shortable once it breaks that, closes below it. There's a gap here too. Look at the gap. You got a gap to fill right at $75, man. That's probably where it's going to go. Right? Markets love to grab liquidity. Just like you did here. You went up to gap fill and made a lower high and smacked it. You got a couple gaps. You got the $75 gap. And you got a gap down here at 55, man. I'm not saying you're going to go all the way down there, but man, you definitely see 70. I think 75 is about right. Look at the quarterly candle, right? Fill that candle body down here. 73, 75. Yeah, touch that region. And then maybe your next quarter, new all-time highs or something on that. 3-bar play, something on the quarter. Yeah. That's what that looks like. Looks like shit. Well, all right, folks. Appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know I dropped a lot of information here tonight. You can always rewind the streams and go back and look at them. Thanks again for tuning in. Still bullish on your City call from a couple months ago. Citibank. Citigroup. Did it break out? I think it did, right? It actually made the move. I forgot where we called this out, but probably somewhere in this $30 or $40 range. Yeah. Well, your monthly RSI doesn't look very good. Okay. That doesn't look very good. If that doesn't break the range, then it was 58. Okay, so I don't know. You're up 50% on it, 40% on it. Yeah, it's relative strength is already kind of cooked on it. It's the problem. H8 candles look okay, but you're coming into top of a range here. You haven't broke this range since like 1995, man. All right. Let's go to like some high time frames here, the quarterly chart or something. Yeah, quarterly chart looks good. And the long-term charts still look good on it. Yeah, I think long-term it's good. You know, you might get eventually back up to the all-time highs in the coming years here. So maybe not short-term. Short-term you might pull back a bit. But I think I think it will actually break this range, this trading range. And you probably get up to I called $85. Well, I think did it achieve that? It pretty much achieved that. I called the top of the range, right? Yeah. I said probably not to trade the breakout. And that's pretty damn good. It went to 84.99, bro. Like, come on, give me a fucking break. It just depends on your trading plan with it. All right. If your long-term trading plan is to hold Citibank or Citigroup, then I think you're fine. Because the long-term time frame here is still pointing up. Your quarterly or 5-month chart, if you're holding this stock long-term, I think it still has plenty of upside. Look at your yearly chart. You could hold this for years. This is telling you that it's okay to hold for years. All right. It's not a very volatile stock. It doesn't make major moves like some of these other assets. It's $150 billion market cap. It doesn't really do that much trading volume. But, if you end up breaking this range, I think, you got a good shot at least going to the 618, which is $165, which happens to be this region right here, which is like the top of I would say where you broke down from. I think in the next 6 months to maybe a year, you could get back up here eventually. You might ping pong again back in this range again, or maybe make a higher low somewhere if this doesn't break here. You might come back down to $60 again and make another low there, and then that catalyze your move out, reset, right? But yeah, I think longer term this looks okay. I don't see a problem with owning Citigroup here. I think they're a pretty solid entity. I don't think they're going anywhere right now. I haven't looked at their balance sheet or anything, but the chart looks good long term. Looks like it might continue higher, right? That's it. If you're long-term holding it, I think it's great. If you were just trading a short-term move, then maybe you want to take some profit here, right? Because you don't know if this is going to break out. Maybe wait for it to pull back a bit. Get another re-entry on it. Because like I said before, Assets don't always break out. In fact, a lot of the time they don't. You have a nice uptrending channel here on it. I mean, I would consider this a bear flag right now, but yeah, the long-term chart looks okay. Especially like your 6-month RSI. This looks like it's still got plenty of room to go up over the long term here. All right. Cool, guys. I think I spent enough time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, got some value out of it. Make sure you guys drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. Let people know about what I do here and then how much I've kind of helped you guys along the way. So I appreciate that. Catch you guys next week. Hopefully we have a decent trading week.